The words didn't hit me like a punch. They slid in slow, deliberate, like a blade pressed gently against my skin, soft at first, then slicing deeper until the sting was all I could feel. "You should probably lose some weight before you meet my folks," Ethan said, his voice casual, almost bored, as if he were suggesting I swap out a pair of earrings instead of my entire self. We were at his favorite Italian joint in Chicago, the kind of place with dim lighting and overpriced pasta, where the clink of wine glasses usually drowned out the world. His fork hovered over a pile of fettuccine Alfredo, and he didn't even glance up from his phone, too busy scrolling, probably firing off emails to his dad's company. The blue glow bounced off his wire-rimmed glasses, hiding his hazel eyes. My fingers, which had been tracing the stem of my untouched Pinot Grigio, went still. Did he just say that? I'd spent 8 months falling for Ethan Carter, 8 months convincing myself he was different, that his charm wasn't just a polished act. He was the golden boy of Horizon Dynamics, the marketing whiz who could sell sand in a desert, and I was the quiet coder in the back of the office, the one who fixed the messes no one else could. Our story started late one night when I was untangling a server meltdown at 11 p.m., my desk a chaos of coffee cups and crumpled posts. He'd leaned over my chair, smelling like pine and money, and said, "You're the only one here who actually gets this stuff." I'd laughed, nervous, flattered, disbelieving. "Someone has to," I'd mumbled. He stayed, asked questions, listened. That was the hook, listened. Coffee runs turned into midnight debugging sessions. He'd show up with pistachio biscotti because he'd noticed I hated chocolate, and he'd smirk under his breath at my dry one-liners during meetings, like we were in on some private joke. One stormy Friday he kissed me in the server room, rain hammering the windows. "I've been dying to do that since I caught you muttering at JavaScript like it owed you money," he'd said, his breath warm against my ear. I should have known it was too perfect to hold. When he said, "My parents want to meet you," my heart did a stupid little flip. I spent a week picturing Ithis' mom's warm smile, his dad's firm handshake, a dining room with crystal chandeliers and stories about Ethan as a kid. I bought a navy dress that hugged me just right, practiced small talk in my bathroom mirror, even Googled how to impress old money parents. Then, 2 nights before the big dinner, we were at that damn restaurant. His chopsticks, because he insisted on using them with pasta, some pretentious quirk, paused midair. "Just a heads up," he said. "My dad's kind of traditional. Looks matter to him." I nodded, swallowing a bite of ravioli. "Okay." He sighed like I was the one being difficult. "Maybe drop like 15 pounds by Saturday? So they get the right vibe." The ravioli turned to dust in my mouth. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I set my napkin down, slid a 20 under my plate, and walked out into the Chicago night, the wind biting my cheeks. He texted me 9 times before I hit my apartment door. "You're overreacting. It's not a big deal. You know I love you, right?" I blocked him at 2 a.m., staring at my ceiling, replaying every "you're amazing" he'd ever whispered. Had any of it meant anything? At 3:17, my laptop chimed an email from a recruiter in Osaka. Subject: urgent. Opportunity at Nexus Tech. I hit reply before doubt could creep in. I'm in. The next morning, Ethan was at my cubicle, leaning against the partition like nothing had happened. "Lila, come on." I handed him my ID badge, my voice ice cold. "I quit." His face crumpled. "What? Why?" I smiled, sharp and final. "I'm going where I'm worth more than a number." He didn't know it yet, but that where was 7,000 miles away, and his father's biggest rival was about to bankroll my escape. The flight confirmation glowed on my screen. ORD to KIX one way. I packed light, no keepsakes, no old hoodies, just my laptop, for notebooks of half-baked code, and a restless hunger I couldn't name. Ethan called 14 times. I let each one ring out, imagining him pacing his sleek condo, wondering how I'd slipped through his fingers. My last text to him was simple. Never tie someone's value to a scale. Then I powered off my phone as the Boeing 787's engines roared to life, drowning out the life I was leaving behind. Osaka hit me like a tidal wave. Namba Station was a chaos of suits and schoolgirls, the air thick with soy sauce and exhaust. I stood there, clutching my suitcase, the kanji signs a blur I couldn't decode. I didn't speak a word of Japanese. My new boss's email had been curt. Take the Mitasuji line to Umeda, exit north. I got lost 3 times, dragging my bag through humid tunnels until I collapsed into a shoebox apartment, 8 tatami mats, a futon, and a shower so small I had to duck. My hands shook not from fear, but from the wild thrill of being no one. Here my insecurities didn't have a name. No one cared about my hips or my thighs. I was just Lila, the American who'd shown up with a laptop and a grudge. Nexus Tech's office was a stark contrast to Horizon's glossy arrogance, flickering fluorescence, whiteboards smeared with equations, a vending machine humming in the corner. A sticky note on my desk read, "Welcome Lila," in shaky English. My team stared as I walked in. "The coder?" asked a wiry woman with a pixie cut, her name tag reading Mika. "Yeah," I said, hesitant. "But I don't." "Perfect," she cut me off, shoveling a tablet at me. "No chatter, just work." The project was Pulse, a health app on life support. Clunky code. A UI that guilt-tripped users for eating rice balls. A sleep tracker that mocked you in Japanese if you stayed up late. "Why does this exist?" I asked. Mika shrugged. "Some exec thought Westerners want tough love." I almost laughed. Tough love was why I'd fled. That night I gutted Pulse's login screen, my fingers flying over the keys. Kenji Tanaka, a grizzled developer with a permanent scowl, slid a can of hot coffee onto my desk every morning without a word. One Tuesday he loomed over my monitor, squinting at my rewritten code. "Too nice," he grunted. "People don't need cruelty to grow," I shot back. He huffed, walked off, then returned with a USB drive. "Real data," he muttered. "Access to Japan's public health stats, a goldmine of metrics." It was the first gift anyone had given me since Ethan's almond biscotti, and it didn't come with a backhanded jab. I rebuilt Pulse from the ground up. No weight tracking, no calorie shaming, just sleep patterns cross-referenced with Osaka's traffic noise, stress levels gauged by typing speed, joy measured by how long you lingered over a cup of tea. Kenji saw the beta and said, "Marketable." Mika frowned. "No numbers, no push, Americans won't bite." I grinned. "Good thing I'm not selling to them." Week 5. Rain streaked the office windows, and I finally got why Pulse had tanked. It wasn't the bugs, it was the mindset, the same one Ethan had wielded like a weapon. Health as a penalty, progress is pain. My version flipped the script. It cheered you own a little chime when you hit a hydration goal, a soft "you're enough" when you logged a rough day. When Pulse 2.0 flagged a user for burnout based on how slowly they swiped, Kenji banged my desk. "How?" he demanded. "People don't drag their fingers because they're lazy," I said, pulling up the code. "They're tired." It didn't just count steps, it read stories. The pause before logging a meal, the dimmed screen at 3 a.m., the subtle signs of a life unraveling or rebuilding. I worked until the janitors shooed me out, their mops swishing around my chair. Some nights Kenji stayed too, not coding, just watching. "You work like you're racing something," he said once, tossing me a rice ball. I unwrapped it, eyes on my screen. I've had enough of being told I'm not enough. Now I'm pro-VYing them wrong. The rice was stale. I didn't care. Director Sato hated Pulse 2.0 on site. "Where's the data?" he barked at our first demo, jabbing the tablet. "The transformation pics? The graphs?" Mika tensed beside me. Kenji lit a cigarette indoors, a silent middle finger. I inhaled. "Would you judge a river's health by how narrow it is?" Sato blinked. "This tracks energy, focus, resilience, what keeps people alive, not just thin." He scowled. "Americans won't get it." Kenji exhaled smoke. "Good." Week 7, the quarterly REVYEW. 30 execs, 1 flickering projector. Sato droned on about discipline-driven wellness until I snapped. No, the room went dead. My heart thundered, but my voice held. We ran Pulse 2.0 on 60 staff for a month.
Productivity up 22%, stress down 28%.
I clicked to a chart of mood trends. This isn't just smarter tech, it's kinder. A guy from HR nodded like I just cured cancer. Sato's jaw tightened. "If it flops, I'm out," I said. "But it won't." Kenji's cough sounded like a chuckle. 3 days later, Hiroshi Nakamura, a senior VP, caught me by the coffee machine. "Your app flagged me last night," he said, pouring espresso into a cracked mug. "For what?" Anxiety spike. He smirked rueful. My kid's been sick. Thought I was covering it. The machine hissed. You're too good for junior dev, he added. Take Pulse full reins. The promotion email hit before my coffee cooled. My first move? Scrapping every nag in the old Cotopaxi no more. You're slacking pop-ups. Just a cheerful how's your day? With a pixelated cat if you answered. Beta testers called it the first app that doesn't make me feel like trash. Downloads spiked overnight. Then came the whisper. Carter Industries is sniffing around. It slipped out during a Monday briefing, Hiroshi mentioning US interest like it was no big deal. Kenji's eyes flicked to me, knowing. By Friday the office hummed with it. Carter was sending execs. They only chased unicorns, they wanted Pulse. The email landed Saturday. Carter Industries visit. Your attendance mandatory. Attached was a roster. Second name James Carter. Ethan's dad. They rolled in like they owned the place. Shine loafers, bespoke suits, the kind of swagger that never heard no. James Carter was Ethan's mirror, same square jaw, same tilt of the head, like he was sizing up your soul for a price tag. I gave my mom's maiden name Lila Torres and watched for a spark. Nothing. So you're the brain behind this compassion algorithm, he said, shaking my hand, his grip like steel. We've been following you. I smiled, syrup sweet. Funny, I never sent you my resume. A pause, then laughter tight from my side. Curious from his. His eyes narrowed just a fraction. Post-lunch they boxed me in. Name your price, said their CFO, a woman with a platinum bob. We want Pulse's IP. Team's a bonus. I stirred my green tea. Not for sale. Everything's for sale, James countered, leaning in. But we'd rather have UVP slot. Seattle 8 figures. The number glittered enough to kill my debt. Buy a condo, erase Ethan's voice from my head. I set my cup down. I don't build for people who monetize misery. James's smile was Ethan's patronizing, practiced. We'll chat after your summit keynote, he said. It wasn't a question. For 3 weeks I lived in the Nexus Tech Lab. Mika mocked up VY Sewell's. Kenji crashed the demo 10 times to test it. Even Sato signed off on the tagline. Health is a story, not a score. At 4 a.m. Before the Osaka Tech Summit, I was still rewriting my speech. You're obsessing, Kenji growled, throwing me a jacket. They'll be watching, I muttered. He lit a cigarette, ignoring the smoke detector. Let them see what they missed. Backstage at the Osaka International Center, I paced in my blazer and Converse, my armor. My phone buzzed, unknown number. Lila, we need to talk. Blocked. The door swung open. James Carter stood there, 2 bourbons in hand. Nervous. Ready, I corrected, taking a glass. He grinned. You're like my son, stubborn, sharp, hates help. Ice clinked as I sipped. Funny, he never brought you up. James froze. Wait, his eyes locked on mine. Ethan's Lila? The one who vanished. I drained the bourbon. That's me. The lights hit me like a spotlight on a fugitive. A sea of faces blurred, but James sat front row, knuckles white on his chair. A year ago, I began, voice steady. Someone told me I wasn't enough as I was. Today, Pulse has lifted 15,000 people without a scale or a sneer. The screen flared testimonials. A nurse who tracked peace instead of pounds. A student who slept after months of insomnia. A retiree whose joy log spiked when he fed pigeons. James's face drained of color. Health isn't a whip, I said, staring him down. It's a wing. And I'm just warming up. The applause was a tidal wave. Backstage, James cornered me. I didn't know. You wouldn't, I said, zipping my bag. Your son only sees skin deep. He winced. The buyout's still on, but I'm offering a partnership 50/50. I paused. Why? Because you built what we can't, he said, voice low. And because I see Ethan clearer now. I handed him my empty glass. Email my attorney. The Osaka Tech Innovation Award was cold and heavy in my hands. The MC's voice boomed. Saw for redefining wellness, Lila Torres.